Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how you align objects in SelfCAD. I have an object like this where I have 4 separate objects and there's a distance 6.4 between each of them. So let me show you how you can actually align this. I'll show you first the difficult way, traditional way how you do it in most other CAD software, and then some unique features from SelfCAD. So let's get started. I'm deleting this one. I'm going to add a basic cube, drag and drop a basic cube. And now I'm going to make a copy with command drag to make a copy. Now, if I want to align this the normal way, I need to measure the distance on the scene where this is located. So let's take a look. I'm going to center one of the objects. This is selected first. Center means it's 0, 0, 0 position. So this is centered. Now, I want to align the other object. So I know this is the centered, and I know my gizmo position, my pivot point was from the center. You can adjust that, but by default, it's the center of the object. So that means that if it's the center of the object, I measure only half from the object, because this is basically the center, half of it. So if this size of this object is 100, let's take a look. The default size, if you simply drag and drop, it will be 100 in each direction. So it's 100. If I take half of it, it's only 50. If I'm going to measure from another cube, which is also a size of 100, 50 and 50. If I need to be 6.4 distance, that means that I need to make it 106.4. So let's switch my selection. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the move, and I'm going actually to switch selection, this one, and I'm going to position this in the negative, because you see this way goes negative, this way goes positive on the x-axis, which if you watch the text box, x-axis. So I want this to be positioned exactly, so I'm going to make it minus 106.4. Okay, this in this direction, and this direction I need to make it 0, so now you have it perfectly aligned. Now, this worked over here in this particular case, I centered that, but what if the object is on different locations on the scene, and it's difficult, or sometimes they're not the exact same, or it's complex objects, you need to calculate the math between the center from the pivots, from everything, it gets quite complicated. So let me show you the other way how this could be done. So let's just move them away. I'll press M to enter the move tool. I'm going to move this away. I'm going to select just one of them now. Let's move it like this. And let's align them without positioning the center, without any special math. If you want to use the traditional way of positioning them now, you really need to calculate the math, where this is located and how this is located and how I can make the arrangements and so on. So here is where I go to the align tool. I'm going to go to the align tool. It's a good practice. If I have only 2 objects, you will see which one is visible, but it's a good practice always to name it. So let's just give it a name, my cube. Okay, just for a purpose of showing, keep it with good practice. So if we go over here, you see you have 2 options, align to the grid or align to mesh 5. You only have this one. You don't see the selected object, because if this is selected, you can't align it to itself. So I'm going to choose the mesh 5. Now, you see this is aligning perfectly with this, because the option over here is bottom right. I used it last time, it remembered what I did. By default, if you open it, the option would be center, and it will kind of see like it's getting hidden the object. So you shouldn't get scared, because basically it knows, that's basically, if you align the center, then, and they're both same size objects, it will just go one within the other. So what you have over here is you have to look at where you locate it. And this has not to right does not mean what is your right, the way you're sitting, because I can rotate the scene, and in this case, right would be my left side. So you always have to look at which side the scene is rotated. In this case, it's positioned in a way where front is facing me and right is my right side. So if I choose right, this aligns it perfectly because I chose the bottom. If I choose it on top, for example, will go higher, or center, middle will go in the center. So I choose the bottom on the right side. But what if I want to have my distance now? So I have to look which axis I'm dealing with. In this case, I'm dealing with the x-axis. So I'm going to add 6.4. 6.4, and you perfectly aligned it. If you want to align it in the other direction, going from the center of the scene to this side, you will need to do the same thing, but you'll have to do minus 6.4, because this way goes negative on the x-axis. And that will do it. Otherwise, 6.4 will actually get it inside the object 6.4. So that's now how we do this. Now, how do I do the other 2? So I'm going to group this. You can do from edit and go to group, or you can just do command G, which I'm going to do now. You group the objects, and now I'm going to do command drag another copy. And now let's group, let's align these 2 as well. So I'm going to go align. The same thing, I have only 2 objects. I don't have to worry, but it's usually good to rename it. and I'm going to choose to align it to this one. Now it did jump to the center. I'm not exactly sure when it remembers my last setting, when not. It jumped to the center, but in this case, let's take a look. I want to align it to the front of it. So I'm going to go to the front, and again, the same thing, it's perfectly aligned. So I'm going to do, but I have to look now which axis it is. At the moment, I'm dealing with the Z-axis. So Z-axis, I'm enter 6.4, and in this case, it's perfectly aligned. So now I can select these objects as well, Command G, and I have it grouped, and now M to move it. I can start moving it, and I can center it. And now you see we have this perfect aligned object. This is a very helpful tool for aligning many complex objects. You just have to look at which position you are, and you have to know if you go positive or negative, and it helps with a lot of modeling features. Okay. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.